It's just not plugged in.
It's cute.
I said, well,
Thanks.
oh, that's fine.
You drove all the way to
signal,
Sebastopol
yeah.
to get one up to do it. Old habits die hard.
He's here once a month.
Yeah, maybe that's
Right.
why we'll do it.
All right.
Yeah, it keeps saying.
Welcome, everybody, to the March 11th meeting of Open Space and Ecology. I'm calling this meeting to order. Our first order of business is the adoption of the agenda. Can I have a motion, unless there are changes?
Could we get on our screens first? For those of us who didn't bring paper?
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
It's okay to me. I move to adopt the agenda.
I second.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Thank you. Actually, are we, is our,
Invite public comment first.
yes, okay. Public comment, oral communications, is that where we're? Yeah,
Oh, we were
never
gonna
get anybody
we were gonna
who
bring
comes to
Dell
visit.
in during the PCA.
okay.
Sorry. Awesome.
Okay. All right, so we now have you under number 4. So since there are no oral communications from the public, let's move on to item 3, welcoming our new OSEC members. Megan and, am I saying it as your preference, Camila?
Camellia, yes.
Camellia, okay. Who would, of you two, who would like to start? I was hoping you could give us a brief introduction of what brought you to us on Open Space and Ecology.
I'll go first.
All right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hi. The reason that I joined is this is something that's always been near and dear to my life and in my life, and I want to learn more so that I can go out and teach more. That's kind of the bottom line.
Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you.
Could you say anything about your background, what you do, and
I've been in Brisbane. I moved here in 2000, bought a house in 2003. I have been mostly in the sales field in the hospitality industry. Right now I'm working for a software company in San Francisco. And what else about me? I have a daughter who grew up here. She went to Brisbane Elementary School in Littman. She now lives in New Zealand. She also went to SI and on to college in Washington. A little bit more about me. I swim in the community pool, which I love. Bike ride on the bay as much as possible, and I love Bikram yoga.
thanks?
Thank you. Camilla?
Hi, I have lived in Brisbane since 2007, so 8 years resident and homeowner of Brisbane. And I love Brisbane and the beauty of the mountain and the bay and the environment that we have. And in the last 4 years, I actually spent a lot of time researching the impact of environment and toxicity on health, primarily for health reasons. And it was eye-opening for me what a big impact the environment and everything that we do every day has on our health, in particular, how we use water, how we save energy, and the use of plastics and all the other toxic chemicals in the environment around us, and the impact that it actually has on the environment and on our health in terms of degenerative diseases. So I've been really passionate about living a sustainable lifestyle and actually sharing what I have learned with others and learning more. And I feel very excited to be able to join the committee and actually to be able to continue to work in that field and help promote these initiatives for sustainable lifestyle in the Brisbane community, because I've realized that they not only have impact on our community, but they have an impact globally. And I think we all have seen the drought that we're experiencing and the climate change, and all these things have an impact on what we do every day in people's life. And I'm very excited to work with all members of the committee to work in this field and really to create awareness, education, and to promote initiatives that enable that sustainable lifestyle.
Thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you.
If everybody's satisfied, perhaps we should move on to number 4. Now, this didn't come out in email, did it, Natalie?
Yeah, but today.
Oh, okay.
So the first thing that is on your screen, I just sent to Natalie. You had this earlier, but I sent this today and asked to share it with the committee because it is basically a letter that we wrote, and it clearly kind of defines what the PCA is, and I thought it would be very helpful. And I can, read it out loud, or I can, however you want to do it.
How about if you summarize it?
Okay. Basically, summarizing it is hard. But applying for a priority conservation area status, well, I'll just read the first couple paragraphs.
If nobody objects, I think I'd like to go ahead and have Michelle read it because I did not get a chance to get to my email this afternoon.
I'll go fast.
And I think also for our public.
Okay. The Associated Bay Area Government's ABAG was created by local governments to meet their planning and research needs related to land use, environmental and water resource protection, disaster resilience, energy efficiency, and hazardous waste mitigation, and to provide risk management, financial services, and staff training to local counties, cities, and towns. Plan Bay Area is an integrated land use and transportation plan that tackles pressing issues such as accommodating population growth while working to keep the region affordable for all our residents, preserving open spaces, protecting our environment, and accommodating transportation needs and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Plan Bay Area was released in July 2013 in coordination with the Regional Transportation Plan and Regional Housing Need Allocation, known as RHNA, for local jurisdictions. Priority Development Areas, PDAs, are areas that communities identified as possible areas to grow, nominated by the city or town council via resolution. They are generally areas of at least 100 acres where there is local commitment to developing more housing along the amenities and services to meet the day-to-day needs of residents in a pedestrian-friendly environment served by transit. To be eligible to become a PDA, an area has to be within an existing community, near existing or planned fixed transit, or served by comparable bus service and planned for more housing. Priority conservation areas are areas of regional significance that have broad community support and an urgent need for protection. These areas provide important agricultural, natural resource, historical, scenic, cultural, recreational, and/or ecological values and ecosystem functions, of which we have a lot here in Brisbane, by the way. As part of the broader Plan Bay Area implementation effort, ABAG staff worked with local jurisdictions and the ABAG Administrative Committee and stakeholders to develop a Priority Conservation Area Program update. Amended July 17, 2014, this update specifically addresses the open space and farmland implementation areas and introduces 4 categories to recognize the role of different kinds of PCAs in supporting the vitality of the region's natural resources, rural economy, and human health. Priority Conservation Area Program was initiated in 2007 to identify Bay Area open spaces that, 1, provide regionally significant agricultural, natural resource, scenic, recreational, and/or ecological values and ecosystem functions. 2, are in urgent need of protection due to pressure from urban development or other factors. And 3, supported by local consensus. The boundaries of PCAs and PDAs can overlap. That's an important issue for everyone to remember. If a parcel of land is designated as a PCA by ABAG, it will be added to a list of projects eligible for future PCA funding. If a lead agency decides to apply for funds, the specific characteristics of the PCA improvements will be identified. The city maintains local control for this entire process, including designating which portions of the property are set aside for development or conservation. PCAs are envisioned as one framework for possibly directing future regional funding for acquiring open space and conservation easements. Most PCAs are nominated by local jurisdictions, park districts, open space districts, or by nonprofit organizations such as land trusts. The majority are natural resource or regional recreation areas with smaller number of agricultural areas and urban greenways and riparian corridors. San Bruno Mountain is a landmark of local and regional significance, standing as a unique open space island in the midst of the peninsula's urbanization of the northern end of the Santa Cruz Mountain Range. The mountain's ridgeline runs in an east to west configuration with considerable slopes and elevations ranging from 250 feet to 1,314 feet at the summit. The rugged landscape offers excellent hiking opportunities and outstanding views of San Francisco Bay and Central Bay Area. The relative isolation of San Bruno Mountain has resulted in the creation of unique biotic conditions, especially in the botanical area. The mountain contains a diversity of microenvironments, with coastal scrub and grassland communities being the most common. Magnificent wildflower displays are found on the mountain in the spring. Principal natural resources include 14 species of rare or endangered plant life, as well as host and nectar plants of endangered butterflies. The endangered or threatened butterflies, San Bruno elfin, mission blue, Calliope silver spot, and the bay checker spot, are found only in a few other places in the world. San Bruno Mountain can also has significant historical and cultural resources, as well as historical agricultural remnants. Because of its location on or in proximity to San Bruno Mountain and its watershed, your listed property will be included in a general regional application seeking to designate San Bruno Mountain and its environs as a priority conservation area. While PCA status could possibly help direct future regional funding for acquiring open space and conservation easements, this does not in any way preclude or protect your property from development or designation as a PDA. No action is required on your part at this time. If a lead agency decides to apply for funds, you would be notified at that time. The city would maintain local control for that entire process, including designating which portions of the area are set aside for development or conservation. And it goes on to say, if you have questions, contact Del Shambari, San Bruno Mountain Watch Regional PCA Committee Head. So basically, this explains what a PCA is. It really has no authority over development or conservation. But what it does is it opens the door for not only funding, potential funding from ABAG, but also other grant money, and that it's recognized as an area that is of open space value according to the criteria listed on the ABAG area-wide plan. And that is why it is so critical and so wide-ranging, especially for Brisbane and San Bruno Mountain, because we still have a lot of area, open space, and habitat islands and important watershed areas that are not duplicated anywhere else on the peninsula and, in fact, in the world when it comes to certain species. So, as part of the Open Space and Ecology Committee, Kima and I have met with San Bruno Mountain Watch, and as part of San Bruno Mountain Watch, I've met, and help and tremendous support from Karen and Natalie have drafted a plan of what and a map of the areas that we want to submit to the council. The council has already agreed to be part of a priority conservation application that is being filed on behalf of all of the shareholders around the mountain for San Bruno Mountain and its watershed and connected environs. So do we have the map to show, or?
Michelle.
Oh, yes.
I have a couple of questions about this letter. Has this letter been sent? And what is our role pertaining to it in particular?
Del, can you answer that question?
Welcome, Dell.
Oh, hi. Yeah, the letter.
Can you say your name and?
Okay, sorry. I'm not used to this. Del Shambari, board member, San Bernardino Mountain Watch. And this is, I've been trying to coordinate this project for like 5-6 months now. And the letters have been sent to virtually every landowner, private landowner in Brisbane, especially the acres owners. If not, I have contacted all of them, including PG&E, trying to elicit a response. And so far, I have not heard anything back from any of them.
Okay.
Because of the consensus nature of the application, we have written what is basically kind of an informative negative option letter, basically saying, here's the deal. Stand up and say something if you really object, but there are no downsides to not objecting, because it does not preclude becoming a PDA and it does not preclude development. It is merely a planning tool and a possible source of funding.
I'm not sure that the letter is a required part of the application. They're not asking for copies of the letters to all the properties.
No.
So the agency can apply for this, and it's Mountain Watch offered to do that just to keep those property owners informed of what's happening.
And the reason wanted to share the letter with you was it was a pretty concise as it can be about the complicated process of how the PDA and PCAs came about in the first place in terms of our regional planning and ABAG. So does anyone have any questions that I probably can't answer?
Yes, I do. But would anybody else like to ask their question first? No? All right. I'll go ahead and shoot. Now, Dell said I believe, said pretty much everybody got one of these letters?
Yes, mainly in the acres. Otherwise, okay. I have sent emails to private property owners, and I even tried LinkedIn. I went to visit. I even went over to Albany to drop off a letter to the landowner of the Levison property, mm-hmm. and I dropped it off in their doorstep over in Albany.
Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't get one, and that's not to be concerned because I'm not up in the acres, correct?
Right,
okay.
right, yeah. Unless there was a couple of parcels up there that included houses, and we did send them to those folks, but I guess you're not in that area. And we do have a list, if anyone wants to see that. We do have a list of the people it was sent to, or the owners it was sent to, even the San Francisco Department of Water.
Another question, are there additional priority conservation areas being applied for in addition to San Bruno Mountain, or is it just San Bruno Mountain?
Yeah, there's many. I don't know. This is my main focus.
But I mean, within Brisbane's sphere of influence.
Oh, no. Here's the way it works. Okay. We've been, it's like a joint effort on behalf of all the cities in northern San Mateo County. Mm-hmm. And every city, Coma, Daly City, Brisbane, and South City has identified areas they would like to include in this program. Mm-hmm. And then it's going to go to the county. After Brisbane approves it, mm-hmm. and it's going to go to the county. And the county's like the umbrella mm-hmm. Organization because they have more weight than just an individual city. So they're going to be submitting the general PCA application to the state. Mm-hmm. And then in the summer, we should hear back from them what problems we're having, or if they can help us do things, and hopefully approval.
So is San Bruno Mountain the only area that Brisbane's applying for?
That's correct, yeah. Well, this is the second round of PCA applications, and just in the interest of starting it at the beginning of this year, that was the initiation, and that's what the council adopted a resolution for, was San Bruno Mountain, and the county's doing it because they're actually including the park. Okay. San Bruno Mountain and surrounding areas. So okay. There are other things that we've debated including, but we kind of want to take this bite at the apple, and in the next round we could look at everything.
And I have when I talk further, I'll mention some of those things that,
Oh, great. It'd be interesting to know what else is on the
I
plate.
see a hand.
Go ahead, Glenn.
So can we count on the county approving this, or is the county going to pick?
County is
and
way
choose?
on board.
So they're
Yeah, the former executive director and I, in some of the instances, went to each Board of Supervisors member and explained this whole process to them. And they're way aboard, and I just want to give Dave Pine a plug because he's been really great on this. And so the other county supervisors also, but he was especially helpful.
okay. So they're going to support what the cities.
Yes, and they have, the county planner is putting all these together and will be doing the submission to the state. This has to go to the county supervisors who will vote for it in May sometime, because this application has to be submitted by May 30th.
Thanks.
Then I just have one little bit of feedback, if you don't mind taking that publicly.
No,
It says there are 4, I'm trying to find it again, 4
designations?
categories.
Yeah.
And I only see 3 listed.
Well, one category is agricultural, I
Okay.
think, too, but
The categories aren't listed in the letter.
I have them right here if you want to see them somewhere.
I thought they do go over them.
It's not
4
in the
different
letter. The
categories.
categories are natural resources.
Okay.
Excuse me, the
Natural
categories are
landscape.
natural landscapes,
All right.
agricultural lands, urban greening, and regional recreation. And if you want the definitions of those, I can give you what that is. But those 4 categories aren't really listed as such in this letter.
Okay.
They will be listed on the application of which properties, and several of the properties apply for multiple categories.
All right.
There's even one that agricultural lands.
That's all of my questions. Does anybody else have any other questions for Del? Del,
Thanks for all the work on this.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. So.
It's a group effort, team effort.
And then, Del, did you have some things you wanted to share
Oh,
with
okay,
us?
yeah, thanks. Just so you know who I am, I've been going up to the mountain since I was 12. After I took an ecology course at San Francisco State during the 60s, I became an environmentalist. I was part of the group to help save San Bruno Mountain back in the 70s. And I've been on it on and off ever since that time. So that's kind of who I am. I guess you don't know the genesis of this. Our previous executive director got a grant from the Goldman Foundation to work on this. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had time to go and lobby everybody, council people, supervisors, assemblymen, and state senators. All the local decision makers. And this PCA, a priority conservation area, is kind of a reaction to, as Michelle was saying, the priority development area. So there's, especially in South City and Daly City, there's so much building going on that they created this area, the PCA, to link to important areas, in which San Bruno Mountain is one of the important areas. And as Michelle said, E.O. Wilson, a famous scientist, has said this is one of the 15 most diverse places in the world. There's so much diversity up there, mainly insect and botany, but it is very diverse for the place. So the idea is to link these population areas up to San Bruno Mountain. Another thing is, if we put some in, if there's a project plan for a private area and the owners don't like it, they could just say, no, you can't do that. I don't see that happening. As I said in our meeting earlier, that our main focus is going to be hopefully try and get one of the acres. That's one of the acres with prime habitat on it. That's one of our most important features up there. Important strategies with this program. Oh yeah, Brisbane had the first resolution way back when. And now we're getting to the other part next week, I think.
The nitty-gritty.
We're getting down to nitty-gritty next week. Also, it's been great working with staff, and Brisbane is probably the most progressive place in the of the cities I work with for the community. Is that my time's up?
No.
No, you have a question there.
Yeah, Del, just a quick question. Brisbane's obviously very supportive.
Right.
We've done a lot of.
Michael, can you speak into the microphone? I'm sorry.
Brisbane's obviously very supportive,
Right.
and we've done a lot of things to slow and or stop the growth onto the mountain. But we share the mountain with South San Francisco, Coleman, Daly City. How are they accepting? Are they just as accepting as we are? I've kind of seen South City seem to want to actually grow and maybe even go up the mountain.
Well, they don't grow and grow. They're going to have a lot of community opposition if they try and do that.
Well, I was talking about the towers they've built onto the mountain.
Well, did you, okay, you know that those towers on Bay Shore? Okay, that was part of
It's a concession, kind of. Yeah.
that was part of a deal that Mountain Watch arrived at, and the developer wanted to put development all over the 30 acres right to the north of that big wavy tower. They wanted to put a high rise on the shell mound there,
Yeah.
and we worked against them, and we stopped that, and we started suing them, and the developer said, well, after one developer left entirely, sold it to Mr. Myers, and we started putting a lawsuit after lawsuit on, and then Mr. Myers said, what do you guys want? And so we thought about it, and we said, you know, he has the right to build, but the best we can do is to, you know, get more land right adjacent to the mountain. So because of that deal, we got 30 acres right adjacent to the state park, and we stopped one high-rise building. So, and that was a community. That wasn't just me. That was a whole community. It was you know, that was it took like 2 years to do.
So South City's been very supportive as well then.
The council is we've talked to all the council members and lobbied them, and they're very supportive of this also, yes.
Del, I have a question.
Oh.
Is it I think I drove by there and I saw that, are they building a second tower there?
They are building a second
But it's
tower, which was
right-
allowed in the initial agreement, but it's
Yeah.
taken them, God, that was approved in 1999, I think, and they're just getting around to building that second one now.
Yeah, the ups and downs of office space
Right.
capacity and whatever in the Bay Area. Okay, but they're not going to be building further north?
They can't go
Right.
any further north, no.
All right.
So Del, what are they doing with the dump?
The Coleman dump?
Yep.
The Coleman dump is closed, and let's see, I'm not sure. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure what they're doing with that.
This seems like a very important area that could be maybe revitalized possibly.
Yeah, they had to, did you know, this is off the subject a little bit, but Mountain Watch did a clean water lawsuit against the Coleman dump like 10, 15 years ago, or maybe 20 years ago now. And that started the progress towards closing it entirely. And now you've seen it. It's all they have wells in there, and they test them for toxics all the time, and they have wells in there to check. So it looks like it's going to be open. I don't know if it's going to be a golf course again or what. Tell you the truth, I don't know.
They're not going to let it go back to being a dump though.
Oh no,
Good.
no, that's done. He closed it.
Yeah, good. Good news.
Okay, well that's all I have, I guess. Unless
We might have more questions for you.
okay,
Over this, if you want to stay. Just
yeah, I'll stay for a few minutes.
Thank you, Del.
Here we have the map of the priority conservation areas for the city of the Brisbane. Can the public see this? Or no? Okay.
So just want to clarify that when we had our last meeting as a committee with Mountain Watch and with the 2 representatives from OSEC, and we are going to modify the map to put all of the Levinson and Peking properties and then put a couple small properties that are west of and adjacent to the tunnel bridge back into this map. And then we are going to, when we bring it, I would like to get approval of OSEC tonight and bring it to council at their next meeting on the 19th. And what we are going to say, the liaisons were not preferring to put the lower Brisbane acres into the PCA application, so we're going to put in the agenda report, if OSEC also agrees and approves this, that the citizens involved wanted to include that area and would like them to consider, the full council to consider including the lower acres area.
I have a question about so the lower acres is the easternmost ridge of San Bruno Mountain, is that correct?
No, the lower acres, as defined by this map, would be
And Tulare.
the backside of Tulare and sort of the part, kind of both sides of the backside of San Bruno Avenue.
Right, so yeah, it's kind of it's that open, it's that sort of area right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And so that is being added back in, or at least we're gonna vote on that as a committee on what our recommendation would be? Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
And then, I know we talked about it just a little bit before the meeting, but the Bayside area around Sierra Point and along the 101 frontage, that's been removed as well. Was that part of another PCA? I think I saw in the email that, I know it's under ABAG's jurisdiction, but has it already been included in another PCA?
ABAG, yes, they have a PCA for all of the Bay Trail.
But not, what about for the eastern side of 101?
And no, for the western side,
So there is no PCA covering the shoreline of 101 on the eastern side then?
no. Not to my understanding, no.
Okay.
So you and I talked separately about the feedback that I got about what had been, that the east side had been studied, and they had, I didn't get who did the study, but I spoke to the planner at ABAG, and they said it wasn't feasible to build a bay trail on the east side of 101 because it was Caltrans property, for one, because it would require bridging and filling of the bay. And so at this time, the Bay Trail plan itself proposes the Bay Trail through Brisbane on the west side.
Yeah.
So I've forwarded you the information to follow up and.
Okay, yeah, I'll follow up. I mean, I'm familiar with other parts of the Bay Trail, specifically around Bear Island, where the Bay Trail is literally on, next to 101, only separated by a median. So it's you're less than 8 feet away from the traffic.
Like a K-rail or something.
What's that?
Like a K-rail, kind of a.
Yeah, exactly.
Barrier.
Yeah, exactly. So the area between Holly Street and and Woodside, or the Holly Street and Veterans Boulevard there on, in Redwood City. So I don't know, that's been built recently, so perhaps, I'll follow up, but.
Yeah, so as a committee, and you missed this last meeting, but we kind of grappled with a few smaller areas, the shoreline of Sierra Point, and we just decided, kind of because we were up against time, kind of because some of us believe there isn't a ton of funding for this right now, and because there are other application cycles that will come up, that we wanted to just get the San Bruno Mountain in and complete. The county has wanted us to send this for a couple weeks now, and just do the San Bruno Mountain one, and there's always the chance to take the second bite at the apple and look at the.
Sure. Yeah, no, I understand that, and I don't disagree. I think clearly, San Bruno Mountain is the priority for Brisbane and for the surrounding communities, so I'm not objecting to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see on the map the quarries involved.
Brisbane has a sphere of influence over the quarry, and so it does come under our jurisdiction for recommending it to be included in the PCA.
Is there any way that can be returned to habitat?
The upper benches are already extremely important habitat for the San Bruno elephant.
No, I'm just saying that
and-
that whole area has been stripped of all its soil and vegetation.
Actually, not really. There's a lot of soil in the, in the upper benches and everything, and it is an important water resource, as well as a potential recreation resource.
Okay.
It does not, as we stated in the whole plan, does not preclude development,
Right.
but including it in the PCA leaves the door open for being able to get funding to do restoration on the upper benches, to make it safer, put trails in, and to continue to work on the habitats in the margin of the property. If you look at this map, you'll see that where the actual excavated area is different than the actual property line.
Natalie, is
quarry.
it possible to put it up on the screen? Is that hard?
So-
Am I asking a lot?
Hey, Michelle, can I ask you another question while
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
trying to do that? The lagoon is trying to be preserved, but people can't build there anyway, can they?
It's private property. Yes, they could, in theory,
Really?
especially if the lagoon continues
So
to.
these little marks I'm seeing in here are actually a layout of
They're
somebody
actually
wanting
parcels,
to plan,
yeah.
developing, filling it in and developing it?
Yep.
Really?
Yes, and one of the reasons that the lagoon is included as part of the San Bruno Mountain PCA is the lagoon actually has the last place where San Bruno Mountain meets tidal bayland. It's kind of amazing. Yeah. And I thought, oh no, that little peninsula out in the lagoon was part of the old landslide. But no, David Scully took me and I walked right down to the water, and there right in the tidal zone is, gigantic rocks with, crystals that are definitely San Bruno Mountain native rock. No question about it. So the area that we're talking about.
Yeah. Do we get a laser pointer?
And Mike, just to clarify your statement about people being able to fill in, Mike, they can't fill in. My understanding is they can't fill in the lagoon, but if the lagoon naturally silts over, then it's no longer subject to the regulations of ABAG, and as long as there's tidal influence there, you can't. It comes within the jurisdiction of.
BCDC?
BCDC.
Yeah, BCDC.
But as soon as
That's
there's no
right.
more tidal action due to natural siltation, the property owners then have a right to do stuff
But if
with
it's silted over, then it would become marshland, which would be even more valuable.
But it's all whether it's tidal influence. So BCDC has a certain amount of, it's like 100-foot right away from any tidal area. So as long as there's tidal action there, they have jurisdiction. But theoretically, at some point, after it's a marsh, it gets, filled, or it
could be.
Yeah, there's natural progression, and that won't stay open water forever, unless action is taken to do something about it. That will fill in naturally over the course of the next couple decades.
Or climate change changes the sea level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that could also,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a variety of ways it could go. It could,
6 more feet.
And it's one of the reasons why the PCA is working, why this map will be slightly modified to include the watershed area that feeds the lagoon near the Tunnel Road Bridge and the sort of area, that little tiny area between Bay Shore and the lagoon, because there is a creek access there and there's tidal land. But the area of the quarry that I'm talking about, sorry.
Yeah.
All of this area up in here, I don't know if you can see it very well.
Following down to the right.
Yeah, and all down that side and along the perimeter here.
there you go.
Along here.
Yeah, all of that.
There.
Uh-huh.
There you go. Put the height to work.
All of that is absolutely critical habitat, especially for the San Bruno elephant, and the Calliope and the Mission Blue. And so even if the lower quarry has some form of development, and they do have, I believe at this point, a right to make 3 buildings there, but that's all up in the air. It should be included in the priority conservation area because the majority of it is not buildable.
And to follow on with that, I inquired from to ABAG about that property, for example, and first of all to the county, and they were not going to include the core even though it's within the county boundaries, and they said, yeah, City of Brisbane can, that's fine. When I spoke to ABAG, they weren't very clear about if you have a parcel and you think that part of it is habitat, that you would just identify part of that parcel or not. So at this point, I don't think there's a downside to just put the entire quarry.
Yeah, because even if the area, it wouldn't be considered restored habitat, it still has an incredible potential for recreation, natural water resource, meets the criteria for at least an urban greening. I mean, my God, that's the view that half the people at the ridge get.
Yeah, and ecosystem services, even if it's not pristine habitat, if it's supporting endangered species, that's ecosystem services.
And not just the 3 endangered butterflies that we all talk about. It also supports a huge, the runoff from it supports a huge chorus frog population. It has one of the most pristine ponds still, at the base of it. So it is really quite, it's the heart of the mountain.
And Del or Karen, could you remind me why we didn't include the shadow roads in the acres? Is that just based on who they're owned by, or those little snaking areas between the lots?
Oh yeah, those should be included.
The road easements?
Yeah. I mean, they are owned by somebody. I know we talked about it in the PCA meeting, but...
Yeah, we were following the open space plan because that's going to be supporting documentation. And as they are, I mean, they're within the area, so I think it kind of could go either way, and it's not a problem to put them back in. But if they're, in the case that, if they're fire roads...
Yeah, they're not fire roads. They were roads to development that never happened.
Right, but I mean,
and if any
graded 10-foot wide road.
Yeah, and
roads.
if any of them are fire roads, they, would be, kind of natural for the whole trail connectivity part of it.
So that's not a big deal to put that back in.
Yeah, that'd be. I think so. I mean, if it doesn't matter, we might as well make it contiguous.
Karen didn't bring her yellow marker to this meeting because last time she took it out of my hand and said, "Stop that." So I tried to color the entire city of Brisbane yellow.
So question, so this is county right here, this area between the quarry and the city of Brisbane?
Mm-hmm.
It's already public land. It is not all county. Part of it is, I believe, fish and game.
Yeah,
fish and game, not fish and wildlife. Fish and game land.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was just trying to remember for sure. And also for other people here. And then I'm not orienting myself well on this map, but what is this area right up there, just south or just north of town? There's a little void right there in the middle.
It's Lippman and
that's
Silver
Lippman.
Spot and the soccer field.
Awesome.
And Quarry Road.
I couldn't map it into 3D.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Lippman on the left and Silver Spot on the right, and the.
Okay.
And the pool in between.
Yep.
Okay, great. That totally makes sense. And then just east of Bayshore, there's a little cutout.
You mean west of Bayshore?
No, east of Bayshore, between Bayshore and Tunnel, west of the tank farm. What's that?
Ice House Hill?
Ice House Hill. And then that whole area in there is going to be added back in because it's watershed for the...
I was actually asking about the area south of Ice
Here,
House
point
Hill, but you
to-
said that's gonna be
Point on this map
Yeah.
of what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was just,
This area.
yeah.
Okay. This is Ice House Hill. This is the area where the railroad tunnel is. And then here is a watershed area by the Brisbane Firehouse that feeds into the marsh and into the lagoon.
Okay, so this, on yours, this is colored in, but on this one it isn't, but that's going to be
But
added
it's going to
back
be
in.
colored back in, yeah.
That's going to be colored back
Yeah.
in. Okay, and then these are being added in, so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure we all know what we're voting on tonight, because you said we wanted to get a resolution going on this tonight, so. Does anybody else have any questions?
Michelle, where's the water come from that feeds into the lagoon?
It's the whole Crocker Industrial Park Valley used to be what was called Guadalupe Creek. And it's the whole watershed from the mountain. And it comes down, and a lot of it comes into catch basins. And there's a
Channels. Open
channels. And there's a lift station, right? Is that part of that?
No, that's just for the sewage.
Okay, that's just for the sewage.
It's near, the storm drainage culvert is near the Valley Drive lift station, but not in any way.
Right. So it comes down through, and some of it goes underground, and then comes back out when it comes through underneath Bay Shore, and it comes into a drainage channel that's tidal that goes on out into the lagoon. So if you look at Google
So that
Earth,
area is not being protected or included in this map?
it is now going to be.
It'd be right by here.
It's on this map, our original map, and
Okay.
it's being put back
So this is
in.
what we're actually going to be voting on tonight.
Well, not quite, because
No?
there's things that
Okay.
have been taken off of here.
Oh, okay.
Such as the roundhouse at the, the stuff on the east side of the bay.
Okay.
And then the lower acres are going to be kind of a separate section that we'd like the council, that we'd like to approve here, and then have the council consider having it in the PCA, sorry. Any other questions or anything else I can clarify? I'm sorry that the map isn't exactly correct, and this map's not exactly correct, but this has been a work in progress that, with many hands and lots of work, and we just had our meeting at 5:30 before coming here to go over this. We have a very compressed timeline.
Michelle, may I ask why the roundhouse was taken off? Just,
Karen can answer that.
okay.
I talked to the ABAG planner that's in charge of this program, and I asked, the main point is the historical significance in having a potential railroad museum, and they said that does not qualify for a PCA. That was pretty much the only thing that they said.
Okay.
And then I mentioned that there is a lot of marshland there now, and that the round the turntable hole is now a very active marsh, but that will come up as part of the Baylands development, and it's a complicated area to try to get it all done at one time. So we've included part of the marshlands down there, but we haven't included that section there because it's kind of, I mean, if the committee wants to include it, we can ask to have it included, but our staff is a little under the gun to get the rest of it done, and so we're going for the big part of it, and there's a few little things that we'll have to pick up as we go along.
And the area north of Guadalupe, is that, again, fish and game?
That area is part of Daly City, and
Okay.
that comes under Daly City and San Bruno Mountains,
Okay.
part of the PCA.
Okay. Is everyone in the committee clear about what we will be considering tonight? I know it's a little confusing. Everybody? I'd just like a yay or a nay from
Yes.
everybody.
Yes.
Yeah? Yes? Okay. So do we need to, Karen, do we need to propose a resolution, or?
Well, I don't think you need an official resolution, but a vote would be great that you.
So I move that we accept the amended map, including the Lower Brisbane Acres and the other areas, the rest of the Peking Handicraft and Levinson properties, and the area that will be colored in the watershed area between the lagoon and Bay Shore Boulevard, and as a recommendation to the council for the PCA map from the city of Brisbane.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Is there anything else we can do for you tonight, Dell, to help you move this forward?
No, you've done quite well. Thank you very much.
One thing that we could do is go and support it as private citizens to the city council as well.
Absolutely.
And I will definitely be going to, champion this for us.
And this will be at the next city council meeting.
That's the plan.
When is that?
The 19th.
Thank you so much for all your hard work on this, Karen and Natalie.
Yeah, and thanks, Dell.
Thank you, Dell. Dell's our hero. And
Thank
Chris
you very much.
Jensen, our new executive director, has worked extensively on this as well, and then just hopped in there and got a bunch of it done.
I see on my list of notes to myself, I'm going to rewind us for 1 second. Under the welcoming of our new members, I wanted to request, Natalie, that you send out an updated contact sheet for everyone. Now, fast forwarding again to number 5, approval of the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think it's unanimous. Number 6, chair and committee member matters. Now, I think we had some things that were specifically going to come up.
Michael, do you have anything from your Lions Club meeting about the Christmas tree?
Yeah, a couple things. A couple things actually. The Brisbane Lions Club, they said that they did plant the tree. There's not a whole lot of people who I was able to speak with about it, but they're pretty sure they helped to donate and get the tree donated and planted. They're all for the idea of planting a new one and having it grow up a bit before it's decorated with lights as the other one continues to live on and lives out its natural age. One of the concerns that came up that I thought was pretty legitimate is the city of Brisbane has a approved tree list. There are no Christmas trees on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Be outside the approved list.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've been saying, I'm going to chant it again. We need to expand the approved tree list. Okay, go on.
So, anyways, I think if the Lions Club is going to be donating a tree that's a Christmas tree, they would like to have it look like a Christmas tree, not a bishop pine. And they were all for it as long as it didn't cost too much.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I noticed did you send an addendum to the minutes? I didn't look at the one on the screen, but you said something about how it looks. I don't care how it looks. It's the health of the tree, which is in the original minutes. So I don't know if you had made some kind of change to that, but how the current tree looks is not why I raised the issue. I just want to make that really clear. So I'm sorry, I didn't read it on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Where would that have been? Sorry.
Well, moving on with the Lions Club, one of the things I think we need to do is get...
No, this is wrong where it says, since the look of the current tree is not ideal. That is not what I said. It's because it is not healthy and will not survive as long as we need it to. And that was from Sean, not me.
Okay.
So can you change that?
Change it back to
I moved to amend the minutes.
I second that.
Okay.
back
all
to
in-
what it originally said then?
Yes.
All right. I don't remember you saying it was dying imminently, but
It's not imminent, but it will not. I mean, that's what Sean said. He's the tree
Okay.
expert. I'm not.
oh yeah. What's Sean's tree expertise?
What is his expertise?
35
remember.
years in the San Francisco Parks and Rec as their master gardener or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't
Pretty much
recall that.
his career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the pro from Dover.
Okay.
So we can contact Sean and get a list of trees that would be suitable for the area.
And then I heard something about a 30-gallon would be about the minimum size to start planting the tree.
That I don't know, but
And then maybe some list of prices, and then we can take that back to the Lions Club and see what their support would be like.
okay.
Sure.
I think we're going to have to definitely vet this at a higher level than us just the open space committee
Yeah.
planting a tree.
Yeah.
Everyone in the city will be interested in
Come on, Karen, just get us a backhoe. We'll take care of it.
on a weekend.
You think I'm bad with a yellow marker?
The Lions president offered his neighbor's tree.
Should we form a subcommittee around this?
Oh, I don't think we need to do that, do we?
Okay.
Do we? Michael's the subcommittee.
All right. It was just a possibility.
I'm
a thought.
thinking it might be good to kind of bring this to the attention of the council and ask what their pleasure is, because I would imagine that Parks and Rec would want a say, and as Karen points out, probably a large percentage of the population of Brisbane will have an opinion about it one way or another.
We're talking about a location and
Yeah.
a type of tree, and we're also asking the Public Works, our maintenance people, and maybe the arborists that they consult with to look at where we could possibly plant a tree nearby and what kind we could plant, and we're going to bring recommendations from that direction too. So this would be, you guys can look at all that information together.
Maybe the first thing to do is get Sean to suggest a short list of types of tree that would look Christmassy.
I
and
think you guys, I've never met Sean, so that's great. If you want to use someone from the public, we've got certified arborists that we work with too, so they're all equally qualified, I think.
Yep.
So if you guys want to get something from Sean, that's great. I have resources that I'm using on the staff end.
I'd love to see
Both
anything
of
that
them.
staff can
Both.
come together. Yeah, well, we don't know what Sean's commitments are. I mean, I'm sure he'd be happy to help, but since we have people within our resources, we should probably make use of this.
Okay.
Bye. All right. So I know we had some other things to discuss under chair and committee member matters. However, it's not popping into my brain. So I guess I'm just going to leave it all to y'all to speak up.
Could I ask a question back on the tree matter?
Certainly.
What's the next step?
You'll be
So
next.
we're going to find out from the people that we're working with in Brisbane who and what type of trees, and then we're going to look at that and then take that to the city council. Is that going to be the process?
We'll bring the information back and see what comes of it, if we can, whether it makes sense to plant something near the tree, or if that doesn't make sense and we want to try to think if there's another location. And
Okay.
I think the Open Space Committee would formulate, a recommendation that
Okay.
I would probably ask at the staff level whether they wanted that brought to a Park and Recreation Commission or straight to the council, or how that
Okay.
process. That's kind of the city manager guides me on stuff like that.
Okay, thanks.
'Cause I don't think it's been done before.
Yeah, I didn't know. It's kind of like it just stopped, and I just wanted to see what the next process was, the steps were.
Karen, can you also ask your experts for a second opinion?
Yeah.
Might be a good thing to do.
Two different.
That'd be
Sure.
great.
Since it's not, in my opinion, it's not aesthetic so much as it is, longevity.
Right. Some of the branches have been
Weird.
pulled down though, right?
Yeah.
That was part of.
Well, and the
not
top
looking-
is doing that, shearing
Wind
thing.
blown. It's wind shear, yeah.
Wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any tree we could put there that isn't going to happen to, but maybe you're.
Yeah, I mean, you
Tell us
can,
that.
if you stake the tree, you're helping the trunk, but the branches can still do what they're going to do.
I'm sure we could get a nice aluminum tree. that'll-
I didn't think I suggested that. We get an
Okay,
artificial
thank
tree.
you. I appreciate that. I just want a little more clarity.
Kima, did you have anything under committee member matters?
I'm not sure whether it's coming up in the agenda later, or are we talking about committee chairmanship and
sorry.
all of that? Is that, was there there is no, I didn't look at the agenda yet. All right, no, I don't have anything.
I'm sorry, I had told Glenn that she would be next. I apologize.
That's okay. I was just wondering if staff had heard anything about the Sustainability Committee and the big report?
No, but the planning staff is kind of leading that, right? So that would be the main
I guess.
point of
I mean,
contact.
this is from the Sustainability Committee, and when at the last meeting, I mentioned that the report is nearly done, and we're supposed to review it, and in fact, it was in the minutes that we just approved.
Do you have the contact information for the person that assembled you guys last time? That'd be I mean, because they didn't involve us as staff and all of OSEC. You're the representative, so
Well, they haven't told me a thing, so they haven't told you anything either.
No.
So I guess we're on hold with that for the time being. Okay.
I think the other. Oh, yeah.
Did you know if the consultant finished the adjustments that you guys made in the last meeting?
Well, that's what I thought was supposed to happen, and I assumed that she, I'm just a member of the committee, and so I assumed that she would let other members of the committee know, council, somebody.
Okay.
Okay.
I think the other thing that was on the chair and committee member matters that Kima was alluding to is that I had thought it was I had thought it was in March when we elected a new committee chair and they took over in April, but Natalie said she checked the pardon.
It's a bit later.
Yeah, and that's what Natalie said. She thought it was actually June, right, or May, and then June.
We
Historically?
elect in May, and then they'll start in June.
Okay.
We're electing now?
Well, that would be you, Kima, your vice chair. But
Well,
maybe
you're
not.
next up, but then, yeah, someone else would have to be elected vice chair.
Ah, okay. All right. Thanks for the clarification, because that's my understanding was when Barbara took over, she said she would only do it if I agreed to do it a year later. So
No, I don't remember that.
yeah, no, it's fine. I mean,
Okay. I don't know.
It's been I've been working into it, and I feel ready. So
Okay.
I look
Good.
forward to it whenever that time comes around. I just wanted clarification on the timing. Thanks.
Anybody else under committee matters, member matters?
Is this where we're supposed to go an update on the environmental action plan?
No, we actually have that under number 8.
Oh.
So, if everybody's done with miscellaneous member matters, let's go ahead and move on to number 7, Earth Day and Habitat Restoration Day.
I went to the site with Mountain Watch staff and Peter Steeler, and we developed a work plan that I updated everybody on. So that's kind of in the works, and I've been talking with Russ and developing all the other things that need to happen for that day. To my surprise, I received the T-shirts today for both events already.
Awesome.
Ecology has again agreed to donate the money to cover the fee for those shirts. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much all the updates. I need to do outreach to the community around our Earth Day site to make sure that we know we'll be walking around there, and so they're not so surprised. And I think I sent everyone flyers for the 2 events, so start telling people about it so we can have hopefully a good turnout.
I already announced it when we did our, we planted 1,000 plants up on San Bruno Mountain the weekend before last. And I announced it to all the 45 volunteers that came and helped us do that and say, oh, next time you can come and we'll give you a free T-shirt.
That's something you should give us 5 words on, Michelle.
What? Oh, that?
The Restoration Day, yeah.
Well, as you know, Mountain Watch does habitat restoration every Saturday and also on weekdays and different things. But we had a big planting day a week ago Saturday where we planted 1,000 plants in a habitat island grassland area where scrub had been removed, and we had to park in the quarry to access it. And the quarry was very generous in letting us park there and use their facilities or whatever. And so we had over 45 volunteers that came, and we planted 1,000 plants on San Bruno Mountain. And it was great because then that afternoon we had one hell of a rainstorm to water it. And it was absolutely awesome. So keep your fingers crossed. It's great. So, and people at Mountain Watch are very excited about that we've chosen to do this particular area along San Mateo Lane and Kings Road as our spring habitat project, and then our June habitat project going back to Firth Park. Very exciting, and hope we have a good turnout for both. Natalie, you've done a great job with that.
Yeah.
So excited about the T-shirts.
Did you happen to bring the T-shirts to parade for us? I mean, I know it's a little spurious for a committee meeting, but I think it's fun.
I didn't, but
Okay.
they look great. Something really important to note is that this site does have some poison oak, so fully cover everything. Don't wipe your face.
Don't rub your eyes or pick
Don't
your
rub your
nose.
eyes.
Take a cold shower after, and because if you do hot water, it'll soak right into your skin, and cold water will run right off your body.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of Technu on hand.
Techno.
Okay, anything else? Update on Earth Day and Habitat Restoration Days?
I was just going to ask, are we going to suggest a way for people to get there? I mean, it's pretty steep. People are probably not, a lot of them are not going to walk, and parking up there is fairly limited, so have we given any
We
thought to
are
that?
working on getting a shuttle.
Okay, but we're not sure yet?
Russ is working on staff for that day, so he's working on it.
Okay, that'd be good.
Maybe also adding something to the flyer about carpool if you can.
There is.
Oh, there is? Okay, I did not remember seeing that. Even though I have one taped up outside my house.
The other thing we can do, Natalie, on that is put a little map on the city blog showing where it is, and the easiest route to walk there is to come up Humboldt and then do that little zig towards Trinity and then back across, so you don't have to go straight up the steep part of San Mateo Lane. It's a little bit easier walk.
Yeah, we would like people to walk if they could.
Yeah.
All right, how about moving on to subcommittee reports?
Well, let's see. We haven't done anything, and that's my fault because I got all tied up with doing the PCA. So definitely still active. Need to finish it.
Okay. B, education and outreach. That I submitted a list. Oh my gosh, this is not what I saw on my computer. This is great. So we have a list of 22 items here, and I think we could do even more than this real easily. Now I'd like to know, did everybody submit your 10 items, hopefully?
I submitted 3 this afternoon.
Okay.
Off the top of my head.
I've just submitted about 5 so far.
Yeah. How about, let me go ahead and bring our new committee members online. The library has, one of the stated goals of the Open Space and Ecology Committee, part of our charter, is community education. It's actually written out, community education. So in order to more actively pursue that, I spoke with the library, and they have agreed to give us a shelf that we can make things available to the public, that they can then at least self-educate. And we can, of course, actively promote that as well. And so I had last meeting asked everybody on the committee to submit about 10 items that they thought would be well placed on that shelf. And of course, that could be anything from movies to books to upcycling projects to a plant from San Bruno Mountain Watch to just anything that will fit on a shelf is fair game for the list. And then once we've got, and those are all supposed to go to Natalie, and once Natalie's got that, she's supposed to compile the list, and then we will need to choose somebody, we'll need a volunteer to curate that shelf, and just change over things every couple of months. I mean, we've sort of gone back and forth whether it should change every 2 months or 6 months, but
That would kind of depend on how many items we have in there, right?
yeah, that could be dependent on what's going on with other things. Like if we get sucked back into the EIR, then it may sit for a while.
Yeah. Natalie, I'm sorry, the future of food is on there twice. I didn't realize it was already on there. It's number 2 and 22. It's a great documentary.
Story
Yeah.
stuff's great. That's wonderful. Yeah.
As far as donated items, what are we supposed to do with them? I brought a couple that I was going to donate. So are they being collected someplace?
Yeah, I was going to ask, where's everything being housed? If somebody volunteers, where is that?
So the thing with donating things is the library will try to see that they stay in the collection and get back to you, but if they're not officially part of the library system, then they cannot guarantee that you'll get them back. So that's fine, you know, if you have things that you're not too attached to. I suppose the items could either go to Natalie or they could go to our future curator, who has not been chosen at this time.
I have a question. If we donate a copy of a movie, a film, will the library add it to their collection?
That's what I was going to just ask.
Because I do have a brand new copy of The Future of Food, and I would be willing to get a copy of Butterflies and Bulldozers.
It's very likely that it would be violating copyright law to make a copy of that.
No. I have a brand new copy of the bought.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't violate copyright law. I'm not. See me later out back. No. I mean, donating a brand new store-bought copy.
That would be a question for Francisco,
Okay.
and I can go ahead and ask him that.
Okay.
It's a good question.
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question. Because if we go ahead and donate them, and if there's things that people don't want to donate, I mean, again, then you might have, they might get lost. So I think donating makes more sense if they're then owned by the library.
It's probably the whole library system, though, that would have to own them. I don't think the library collections are owned by individual libraries. So probably if it was going to be part of the library collection, it would be part of the San Mateo County Library Collection.
That would be okay.
Yeah, but to the extent we want to keep this stuff in Brisbane.
Yeah, if it's part of the library collection and somebody from another area requests it, it would go out, so.
That's true.
Yeah, and that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing as long as
Okay.
it came back.
Okay. I will go over that. I mean, Francisco and I already talked briefly around that thing, but I will try and get a more specific, concrete answer from him.
And many of these things might already be in the library collection that can be now transferred to be housed in Brisbane.
Yes.
Can we find out if the library already has some of these items in there too?
That would be the next step now that we have a compiled list, and I would like our new members to contribute items if they can, and those who did not get a chance to get to it can still contribute. And then once we have a compiled list, my idea is either that Natalie or our curator or anybody who wants to can start going through and seeing what is already in the system. And if it isn't in the system, like the story of stuff might not be in the system, then perhaps reach out to them, Annie, I think is her name.
Yeah, Annie.
And see what it would take to get a copy from them for library use.
Yeah, because I was just going to say the story of stuff is only a link right now. We don't actually have the physical video.
Correct.
I think that's a free download, though.
Okay.
I think that's available, online. You can just watch it.
Yeah, but I don't know if you're doing a printed copy, if we were to actually.
I have a suggestion, and that is that we ask if anybody would like to volunteer to be the curator for this collection and take up these questions with the library in a sort of systematic way. There's a whole list of questions we have now. I mean, are they willing to acquire things like I suggested, Years of Living Dangerously, which is a great Showtime series, but it's it's a big series. I think it costs like $450 if you're going to buy the thing. So I may be wrong about the price, but if the library doesn't have it, do we want to try to push them to buy it? Which I think would be a good idea. So somebody needs to follow up with all that stuff.
I'd be happy to take some of that off of Barbara's plate. Sounds like you've got a lot going on.
Sure. I mean, I think nobody on this committee is a slouch.
Doesn't look like it.
All got a lot going on. So if I say I'm really busy, then I'm not any busier than anybody else.
I know, but I didn't know if you, because it looks like you're looking for a curator.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm happy to work with you because it sounds like you already have a relationship with Francisco.
Sure. I'd be happy to work with you on this, and, maybe we can double team it, or I can hand stuff off to you.
Okay.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Megan.
You're welcome.
And I look forward to working with you on that.
Me too, Barbara.
Great.
Just a quick question. We have a very good list here already, and some of the links could be downloaded online. Is it possible to put this list of resources also on a web page where anyone can see it and refer to them even without going to the library? Not sure whether there is a OSEC website within the city of Brisbane or whether it will be a different web page, but I think it would be good to have this list of resources that people could find. And
We do have an OSEC documents page. Would it be possible to add an OSEC links page for, short films and things?
Yeah, I'll talk to Caroline. Either of these can be placed on the documents page, or she can develop something else.
Wasn't she also playing some short videos on the channel, community access channel?
We talked about doing that, but I don't know if it ever got off the ground.
There were a couple of energy videos that I
Yeah.
had, and they go
Okay,
in rotation.
okay.
So if we have hard copies, they can be played on the channel if they're an OSEC recommended movie. Yeah.
Okay.
right. And the other thing for books, for example, most of them most probably available also in a Kindle version. So one option will be to, have some kind of a subscription, which then anyone could access with a particular password. And so people don't have to buy the same book again, but once we purchase it in a certain way, people can access it. So I think electronically, a lot of these resources could be accessed, and probably that would be convenient for a lot of people.
Well, the library purchases ebooks, and you can check ebooks out through the library. So if they don't have them already and they want to buy an e-version, that's,
So that's maybe another question for the library. Yeah, which one of these books that are listed here they already have in an e-version as well? Yeah. Okay.
All right, great. Does anybody else have any more questions on the OSEC library shelf at this moment, or more questions?
Just to
ideas
shed a
for
little
Meg
light.
and I to follow up on?
One of the things that I asked the library about was we were talking about music, different things, and so they said basically anything that a person requests, and if it's available on Amazon, they'll purchase it.
Yeah, it seems like they're pretty liberal, but I don't know if like the $400
Yeah, I don't know about
series will fly or not, but they do seem, I've requested materials before, so. I think we'll do okay. We just need to figure out which things they already have so that we're not, requesting things they already have, and we can spend our money or spend somebody else's money wisely. Okay, great. Do we all want to take a 1-minute break before we jump on to the environmental action plan, or?
I don't think the update is going to take all that long.
All right, let's go ahead and do the environmental action plan update. Staff, Glenn?
Where staff would say that we are is that the subcommittee has been continuing to work on measures to include in the plan, and also how to implement those measures and how to refine them, and what the city might want to pursue, and what the committee or the council or whatever body, I guess it is going to try to get the county to take the lead on. So at this point, we have kind of refined the measures. But the part that's happening on the staff side is that the consultant that came and helped us kick off our plan would take the measures, and they would be able to calculate an estimated greenhouse gas reduction for energy measures for each one. And then they would want us to look at those and prioritize. And I think we'd want some dollars to attach to some of those if they're going to be costs, which we haven't really delved into that. And then we'll pick which measures, because we won't be able to do everything, and we won't be able to fund everything that costs money. And then that would move us towards finalizing a plan. So we're kind of in this, we haven't met in a couple weeks because I've been trying to refine the ideas that have come up, to forward those to the consultant in the form of measures. I definitely, all the committees should look at them. I wanted to be able to sit down with the council liaisons and give them some taste of what we've been doing, and also would be good to have for them the list that we're considering asking the county to take the lead on, and just get their feedback. The consultant is also, for agencies that already have a plan in place, they're asking if they want to do an Earth Day update to the council. So I'm kind of shooting for hoping to have our measures. We don't have a plan in place, but to have our measures and then get feedback from all of the council at the second meeting in April that would be close to Earth Day, just as a target. So we could talk about some of the specific measures now, or we could send them out and talk about them at our next meeting. I don't know how in-depth you guys feel like talking about the environmental action plan.
I think I'd prefer to send them out. What does the rest of the committee feel about that?
Let's send them out.
I think it's a lot to sort of chew over in a meeting without having read things first.
Yeah, definitely.
So unless anybody has strong feelings otherwise, okay, let's go ahead and send them out then.
Okay.
Glenn, are you and I going to meet again, or
About,
the environmental action plan, or
those meetings have also involved Natalie and.
yeah, yeah, okay. Sorry, I was addressing you to see if you felt like we needed to meet with.
Probably, but I'm not
Natalie
ready to
and-
now.
okay.
I'm way behind.
Okay, well, we will talk about that in the future. Is everybody satisfied with the environmental action plan update? I would like to have, I'm hoping we will have something really concrete in the near future, especially if we were shooting for that April deadline.
Maybe the subcommittee should try to meet again, like toward the end of March or early April.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Do you want to try to set a date now, or?
I didn't bring my black book. I was a silly girl, so I'm helpless without my calendar. So
I'll
can
send
we
out
do
an
that
email.
via email?
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, Glenn. And if you don't hear from us promptly, Natalie, please ping us. Sometimes Glenn and I both have multiple distractions, so. Number 9, staff updates. Turning it over to Natalie and Karen.
So we've found out that the Park and Recreation Commission, with their new composition, is having trouble meeting on the third Wednesday of the month, and they're interested in obtaining this second Wednesday of the month for their meetings. So we're inquiring about whether you 7 open space committee members are able to meet on a different Wednesday of the month. I didn't put the first week there. I attend or staff the Complete Streets Safety Committee, and I forgot to ask them, but they may be able to meet on one of the other 2 if the first Wednesday was the only one that was possible, but I guess we're looking for feedback about meeting on a different day. It doesn't have to be a Wednesday, it just is, City Hall's open and it makes it easier to.
Yeah. Well, let's just start with the 3rd and 4th Wednesday, and let's start with chemo. Would those days work for you?
Yep, either was fine.
And Megan?
3rd would probably be best, but either is okay.
Okay. Michelle?
They both interfere with my BDW tap dance class, so it doesn't matter.
About that, well.
I, for myself, have no standing Wednesday commitments, so any Wednesday would be fine with me. Glenn?
I think the 3rd Wednesday would work, although Sustainability Committee sometimes meets on Wednesdays, and so does the Green Building Ordinance Committee whenever that starts up again. But I guess we'll just have to juggle that around. It may mean I miss an additional meeting per year. Don't know yet. Depends on my sort of out-of-town commute.
Would 4th Wednesday work?
No.
No, okay. Mike?
All Wednesdays are bad,
Okay.
but the 3rd is the best of the bad ones.
Okay. So this might be at least a minor improvement for you. And Camila?
Either one would work for me.
All right. Do we want to, Mike, you said Wednesdays are bad. Seems like Wednesdays are also bad for you.
There's
Do we
not a-
want to consider a different day of the week?
There's not a good night. They're all really busy.
Okay. How do you feel about that, Mike?
My Tuesdays and Thursdays, well, Tuesdays are bad, but Thursdays are always wide open. So, but I don't want to put my schedule on the other 7.
Well, we can listen to you.
The
You know,
problem
this
with
is-
Thursdays is that the council and the planning
Yeah.
commission meet alternately here, so.
And I will say Thursdays are bad for me, so. And I saw Glenn making a squinchy face. So I think Thursdays are not an option. So if that is the only way to improve your situation, maybe we are best sticking with Wednesdays for now. All right. So I think we tentatively have agreed to move to third Wednesdays.
Okay.
Is that a decision we want to make at this meeting, or does anybody need more time for consideration?
I'm good. I move that we move to the third Wednesday.
I second.
All in favor? at this?
Aye.
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 All right. We are now the third Wednesdays of the month.
Well, not necessarily
Well,
until we
assuming
formalize
nobody
the
else-
schedule, right?
Yeah.
I think they're interested in having our second Wednesday starting next month. so-
Okay, great. Yeah,
It is-
as long as we can get notification via email so that we're at our appropriate meetings on the
Plan.
appropriate week.
Plan on our next meeting being April 15th.
As long as Natalie reminds me to show up.
Yeah, I was going to say, you might want to send out a reminder email for all of us who are sort of entrenched in our schedules. And you said that'll be April 15th?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And we'll, of course, get confirmation on that once, if Park and Rec takes our day. Green, oh, I'll let you guys go. Green building, green business, excuse me.
So, I think we mentioned this before, but just go over it again. We were looking at joining the County Green Business Certification Program as part of our environmental action plan. And I've been in touch with the county, and he let us know that it's an $1,000 fee, and that's the lowest tier, for the amount of businesses that Brisbane has. And Barbara mentioned maybe if he could switch around the fee somehow. And so I reached out to him, and he said basically no.
Okay.
So that's the update for that.
I did also look at the National Green pages and was not impressed with their program because they seem to have no bar other than a fee. And I thought that's not a very inspiring credential if all you have to do is write your check for $115. So I think we are without, at this moment, unless somebody knows something else they can suggest, we are flying without a green business certification program.
My comment about that was
Oh,
that
yes.
it was one of the measures that we can include in our environmental action plan, and without having all the dollars for everything else, we still thought that that wasn't going to be the best bang for our buck for
Absolutely.
$1,000.
Yeah.
He did mention for the next fiscal year there might be some matching fees, so maybe we could revisit it then.
The $1,000 isn't as a big a concern as the threshold for becoming a certified green business is that Barbara brought up. That
Well, she was talking about our backup option was the National Green Building Registry
Yeah, National Green pages, I think it is.
pages. right?
oh, and
They had
that's all you
no-
have to do. Is
That's
pay.
all you have
Oh,
to do
okay.
is pay,
So
and
this
I
one
thought,
does
I sort
have-
of stuck my nose up at that. The San Mateo County one actually has a very extensive questionnaire that took me about 2 hours to get through.
Oh,
And I
okay.
was really proud of myself, but then we found out we're not part of the program because it's kind of expensive.
Well, if
For the
it's a
city.
business issue, could it be brought to the Chamber of Commerce?
Maybe the Chamber of Commerce would be willing
They
to
might build a back
put
zone.
part of the bill?
Well, have we requested whether we can, I mean, I know we have some funding for the Open Space and Ecology Committee. Do we have funding that would cover that?
Well, yeah, I think
Yeah.
Glenn, this came up originally at an environmental action plan meeting, because it was going to be one of our measures. And both Glenn and I felt that it was not the best use of $1,000 that we could request. the
So
city to
let's
make.
talk about this,
Yeah.
really officially. The subcommittee wouldn't be recommending it, but when the whole full committee looks at the measures, we could have a discussion and the full committee could say they're interested in doing something different, but we didn't want to just go ahead on this particular item when we were not looking at the whole picture. So
Yeah.
at this point, the subcommittee and staff aren't recommending it, but we can have further discussion when we talk about the measures we want to include in the plan.
Absolutely. And maybe somebody will come up with a third program that is both financially reasonable and has
So when you send us
high
the measures, could you include what their kind of certification process is so that we?
The county green building, I don't know if is that all available on their website? I think Barbara is the.
It's a website.
Oh,
And
so
you
send
it's
a link.
through
Put a
the-
link in there.
Yeah, you can put a
Yeah.
link in.
And
Okay.
we can look at it and say, oh, yeah, okay.
What did we find out? There was one business in Brisbane that was, no, then maybe that was the national one.
Yeah, I don't
Because
think.
we're
there's-
not in the program, but there weren't that many even in the county. It wasn't like it was going to be the best repository. Like I want to frequent a green business, and
Yeah.
there's 40 restaurants in San Mateo. It's not that robust of a system at this
Yeah.
point, a
Well,
program.
I think they made it too damn expensive. That's my. Go on, go on. So PCA meeting with council. Do we have
I think
additional things we want to say about that?
No, I think that just got stuck on there before we put it up ahead, so next Thursday, the 19th.
Monterey pine removal. Do we have an update on that?
So I finally went out and looked at the trees, the last set that Glenn sent me. I actually think some were removed.
Yeah, they were.
They were.
I saw.
I think some fell over, it seemed like.
And
then-
more will.
Others, Karen and I have looked on maps to determine which were they on private property or were they on right of way, and so from that we're going to determine who will get letters.
Okay. You sent some letters out already, didn't you?
I did send out some letters, and I reached back out to the contractors that their contact information was included along with the permit, and they said they have heard back, have put out quotes to people, so some people are inquiring about having those trees removed.
I noticed that on Valley Drive, right after you sent those letters out, that some of those trees came down. I mean, I saw people cutting down trees out there the following week, so some people got right on it.
Good.
There are still some big dead trees on Valley Drive, but there are fewer than there were
Yes.
when I gave you the list.
I want to thank staff and everybody on the committee who's worked on that, because I know it can feel frustrating that we haven't made more progress, but you should all take a moment to give yourself a pat on the back that we did at least accomplish something. There's at least a few less diseased pines out there.
There is a couple along the 101 that should go, that are really dead.
Where?
I noticed tonight there's one on the east side of 101, and it was before the Sierra Point exit. And there's a couple of others along there that look really bad, but there's one that's really dead that I noticed tonight.
Is that in Brisbane city limits?
I believe so.
There was one.
It's probably in
that,
Caltrain right away, though.
Probably, yeah.
Yes, so not, well, right. There
Send
was
them a
one that-
letter.
You haven't heard this. Mayor O'Connell pointed one out that was, if you're going northbound on Sierra Point Parkway, go under the overpass, and there's a sign on the right. There's one tree that just she thought was a hazard one way or the other, and we actually filed the application with Caltrans and called and finally got a local contact, and they were removing some other trees up along 101, and they put us off, and I finally put a summer intern on it. By the end of the summer, he got that one tree removed. So staff and
Set him
put
on the
some
other
more-
one.
Yeah,
No
I can
intern.
do that.
Whole intern, huh?
I that wasn't his whole summer
No,
job, but I said by the end of the summer, keep calling, get this tree, and it took at least 10 phone calls.
Got to bug them.
Well, somebody should just go stand near it in a windstorm, get hit by a branch, and then threaten to sue Caltrans, and they'll get it removed.
Crazy.
That was a facetious suggestion in case anybody didn't know.
No.
We're going
But I
to
do
sign
think
you.
that's a good thing for interns to do, learn. Not a bad thing for them to experience.
Residential and, I think the site treatment letter, I think that we're still waiting on staff to vet some of that.
Right, so I think I just told you at our agenda setting meeting that I had met with planning staff and public works staff about, and I wanted to clarify what parts of the zoning ordinance we were referring to, because we talked about lot coverage and it's different in R1 and R2 and R3, and what we came up with, and Barbara and I discussed, I don't know if we discussed with Glenn or not, was that you had proposed at one part of the letter, and it seemed like kind of the push of the letter was after the allowed structure coverage being 40% in R1, 50% in R2, and 60% in R3, and then the area required for driveway and parking, once that is covered, that the remaining lot area be half left open. And the Planning Commission actually said, put it as landscaping, don't even
Yeah, okay.
clarify that. So I just want to simplify it and write the letter to say that after the lot coverage that's allowed by the zoning ordinance, and then the required area for a driveway and parking, that half of the remaining lot needs to be landscaping. And the staff is open to that, so then that letter, I recraft it. And I think the table in the back of all the reasons why we think that's important is great. That should definitely stay attached. I'll recraft that, you guys can take a look, and then we'll send it on to the council, I guess, or to the planning commission. I'll figure out what that process should be. I just haven't had a chance to redo that yet.
I understand.
Sounds good.
When do you think we might see it again?
Give me a couple weeks before the next meeting, definitely.
For the next meeting. Thank you so much, Kat.
After the PCA.
Exactly.
All right. Park rental agreement addendum. Amendment, sorry. It was amendment addendum.
I've been working on it with Stuart, and Michelle sent me some language, so it may or may not go back to Park and Rec Commission. We'll see.
Okay. And when do you think we might see that?
I should have another update for next meeting.
Okay. Do you think we'll have the actual language and contract by then?
We might have more language, or either know for sure whether it'll go back to Park and Rec Commission or not.
Okay.
I'll be in touch with Michelle to see if we need to budge anything, what she wants to budge on.
Okay. Right.
I can budge. I mean, anything more is better than what we have now.
Actually, could you, either Karen or Natalie or Michelle, just give a 10-second rundown of what the issue, actually, let me start over. Megan and Camelia, do you know what the issue is with the park rental agreement?
I watched the video of the last meeting, so I do know about that.
I got about 2/3 of the way through, but I missed it, so I would love just a 10-second overview.
Just want to put some additional language into the rental agreement to protect the smaller trees that we have in the park from
I did see that.
Abuse.
And the kids climbing and things.
Yeah.
Any kind of damaging abuse, like tying ropes around and
Gotcha.
which can girdle the tree, or
Okay.
hanging piñatas off little branches, and just.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a precious resource. As we're finding out with the Christmas tree, it costs a lot of money to replace a tree.
Yeah.
Yep.
And ask Natalie, because she helped dig the holes
Yeah.
for the new ones.
Yeah, I did. I didn't realize that's what the
Yeah.
piece was about, the park rental agreement. So, yes, I did.
So I mean, I don't want to stop kids from climbing trees. I
No.
love to climbing
me
trees.
too.
Just some supervision and make sure they climb the trees that are bigger than they are.
Did the Park and Rec respond about the piñata pole?
I haven't brought that up yet.
Okay.
Kind of goes part and parcel with the tree thing, huh?
Yeah, it goes together.
If we're not going to let them hang the piñatas on the trees, then we better give them a pole. So, okay, great. And you will follow up on that, Natalie. Thank you very much. Litter. Do we have litter things happening today?
This was about dumping on San Bruno Mountain, I think. I
Yeah.
was asking about whether we could get that sign kind of propped up right again.
Yeah, I'm not, I'm not sure I know what sign, but we can do that with just a service request. Did we talk about it last time? On
there's a
Guadalupe
sign.
or? Was it on Guadalupe or?
Yeah. Yeah, the dumping is getting worse and worse. There was another big dump over the weekend, 3 separate locations, lots of big stuff, big bags of trash. And there is a sign up there, one little tiny sign that says no dumping. But the last time I saw the sign, it was tipped over and you couldn't see it. And I don't think it's enough.
Where is the sign? It's kind
On Guadalupe Canyon, it's in the Brisbane city limits. It's
at the city limits or?
no. It's on the north side, and it's between Mission Blue and Carter, I believe.
Okay, so it's on where we put the fence up on the turnout area?
It's on the north side.
On the other side of the street.
The other side, okay.
Why did we put the fence up, by the way?
For dumping?
Oh, is that why? I was wondering.
Yeah.
Nobody's been discouraged by it, apparently.
Nobody's been
discouraged by it, apparently.
So the feedback from the police was that they do patrol that area for dumping, but they don't necessarily want to concentrate resources there because they think they'd get negative feedback if they weren't more present in town. And they also said it's really difficult to find a spot to park where they're not going to be seen so that they would catch someone in the act. So
Maybe we can put a surveillance camera on the fence.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand why you fenced it. It was like, oh, what's that ugly fence for?
Yeah. I just wanted to ask, has anybody noticed if dumping has improved on Quarry Road? Because that was a big concern of ours last year, and I don't walk out Quarry Road that often myself, so I'm wondering if anybody else has been going out there and has feedback on that situation.
I was out there a few days ago. It wasn't that bad, although people are still putting their dog poop in little bags and leaving the little bags by the side of the road. So somebody else has to pick them up.
I don't understand that.
But otherwise, it didn't look too bad. But I didn't really look at the places in the ecological preserve where there's been a lot of dumping. And I haven't been feeling good, so I haven't been doing much hiking. So I haven't really gotten into the underbrush to see how bad the litter is.
Either.
Okay.
I'll try to do that.
Yeah.
Soon.
We did get a garbage can out there. And I know I asked you, and I'm sorry, but could you tell the whole committee? Did we ever get a sign out there? A no dumping sign?
No, we didn't put up the sign because that's kind of much more of a process. So we hoped the trash can would have fixed the issue. Yeah.
Well, maybe we need another trash can since people can't seem to walk their dog poop more than 10 feet.
There is that dog poop trash can, but I guess those are too far
apart. I can't believe we're having this conversation. Okay. Anyway, does anybody else want to add any? Oh, I was just going to say, once again, I think I've brought this up before, but since I have put my personal garbage can out to the sidewalk with a sign on it saying that it's okay to dispose of litter in my garbage can, my block has been much cleaner.
Oh, Barbara's is the scoop stoop.
I can bring stuff over to your place when I need to go away.
Well, the sign says no household garbage, please. But with this new green bin, I have almost no garbage.
Okay, but remember, do not put the dog waste in the green bin.
Yes.
Right.
No kitty litter, no dog waste, no. You'll spoil the whole batch.
So I'm just saying, my can is out there and my block is cleaner. Okay? It can be done. You just have to make it really, really, really easy for people. And then I think our last topic tonight is nameplates.
What kind of nameplates?
So it was brought up that we might want nameplates for our committee. But I said to Karen and Natalie, they can't be plastic. Everybody has to weave their own out of basket grass or something because this is not ecological. What does everybody else think about that?
I've got no problem with having a nameplate, but if we can get one made out of sustainable wood and non-toxic VOC-free paint and make it ethically sourced from, sustainable women of color in impoverished parts of the world, then I'm all for that.
I'm thinking make them out of the Monterey pine that are still alive, the pieces of the, just recycle.
Take our Monterey pine down.
I'm thinking that we should just remain anonymous if someone wants to know who we are that could come to the meeting.
Well, and that was.
I vote with Michelle.
And when it's televised, and I think the staff was ordering nameplates for some of maybe the Park and Rec Commission or something, but that was when we had 5 of you, and there are only slots for 5, so they'd have to be something that you hung, and it is for if people watch on TV, that's the reason.
Okay, can I just tell you this? Have you ever watched it on TV?
You can't see them anymore.
There's no way you can read those.
You can't see them anymore. It's really
True, huh? It's pretty blurry.
Yeah, it would just be a waste of money.
Okay.
Maybe on someone's HD TV
Nope,
screen?
no.
Okay.
Sorry. It's the quality of the feed. It's just that one camera, and you can't even sometimes see who's sitting here. I don't even have to worry about brushing my hair.
Yeah, I was thinking that, I used to worry a really bit about like my appearance, and then I actually watched myself once, and I was like, oh, I don't need to brush my teeth. Enough silliness. Does anybody else have anything they want to pipe up with before adjournment?
I'd just like to really, again, welcome our 2 new members. It's nice to be back up to 7. We've got enough work to go around, and I'm really glad both of you stepped up to the plate.
Yes, thank you so much.
thank you.
Which
We're
reminds
excited to be
me,
here.
Natalie, you should circulate the list of subcommittees again, because we now have 2 new members that we need to get on add to some subcommittee. So,
That means I could join the solar committee.
yeah.
Yeah.
Solar.
Yeah, and if you guys have some things you specifically want to work on, we have things that our charter charges us with and the council charges us with that it's very important for us to do. But it's also, I think, important for us to do some of the things that move us personally, because I think it's part of what keeps us motivated and inspired, because it sure isn't the money. So,
Yeah.
We're not getting paid?
No, sorry, babe.
so if you have things you feel you can bring passion to, let us know.
Okay,
Okay?
Great, thank you.
definitely.
Thank you so much. And I move we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye. Thank you so much.
So Megan, as our curator, do you want to keep these?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yes.
I'm happy to do that.
So I did not put my